my table down to see them. Whatever.
I know it
Okay.
happens. Hello, welcome to the Yaoi Shelf.
Hello, welcome.
Grab a seat and relax. I am not feeling this overlay as it covers my name, but if you don't know who I am at this point, uh, okay. So I always have this like existential angst where I have to be aware that every episode is potentially someone's first episode.
Imagine just coming into this
Yeah,
unknowingly.
unknowingly. Just like Yaoi of old, like someone just like springs this on you, like on like a 4 hour road trip, and someone's just like, "This is my favorite podcast," and like you're just held hostage listening to us.
Oh God. I'm sorry.
I'm not.
I
I'm not sorry at all.
thought you were
Um,
gonna say that you weren't feeling the relaxed, because I'm not. I have never been this stressed in my entire life, but you know.
what? Yes.
What?
Oh, sorry, the kidnapping. I was like, "What is going on?" Oh, also, your princess had a birthday.
Oh yeah, she did. Actually, it was in January. She had a
I know.
celebration. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I keep up with your stuff. I know what's going on.
Yeah, good for you. Good on you? I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird. We're all just like sitting here. Like, you can't. I've talked about the royal family before. It's kind of hard not to be a royalist because, like, they're pretty cool. Some of them are
Yeah.
a little on
I
the
mean,
shady side,
they're all.
but
Yeah.
it's so weird because it's like she's 18, and then
She
there are all of
is.
these pictures, and it's like she looks
Mhm.
so grown up, and you're just like,
Yeah, she's really
what?
pretty.
What happened? But she was.
Really pretty.
Yeah, she seems like a good one. They did well with her. We like
You
her.
did well with that one.
Yeah.
So fun fact about me, I am a British royals like drama person.
But
Like
who isn't?
you'd be shocked. Why is my television still on? So fun fact about me, I usually don't turn off my TV. It's just muted because I'm a narcissist and I have ADHD. So, for the record, what was on my television before I started recording was Monster Quest, and they were hunting for Bigfoot. Have they found him yet? The answer is no.
I'm shocked. I was actually
Listen.
going to start listening to a podcast about Bigfoot, but I haven't gotten along to it yet.
If it didn't involve going out into nature, I would be a cryptozoologist. I am endlessly fascinated. I am so fascinated by like monsters and cryptids and shit like that, but it involves me going out into nature, and that sounds awful.
Yeah. No,
That's
thank
like
you.
that's the worst case scenario for me is having to go outside. Also, patrons are very familiar with this design.
I love it
Uh,
so much.
if you would like to join them in this esteemed hallows of a club, you may do so at patreon.com/the Yaoi Shelf. So we happy Pride,
Happy
firstly.
Pride.
Happy Pride. Happy if this episode goes up today, which it should, Father's Day in the US. Also, it's Juneteenth.
Oh yeah.
Which
Do you say
yeah.
Happy Juneteenth?
Okay, so there is some controversy about Juneteenth right now because, much like Pride, it got corporatized, but very, very quickly. Pride, at least, it took like 10 or so years for us to reach like peak saturation with rainbow capitalism. It really feels like in the last like 5, suddenly everyone cares about Juneteenth
Yeah.
to the extent that like a lot of African Americans are kind of pulling back a little bit just because like one, it is not like it's hard to explain without sounding gatekeepery. So Juneteenth is the day that the slaves in Texas found out that they were free. Because the Emancipation Declaration was announced, signed, slaves are free. But Texas was like, nah, we gonna keep them. And then like they had to find out from like their relatives like months later, like,
It's
oh yeah, we're
always
free
Texas.
now. It
Always Texas.
It's always Texas. It's Texas or Florida, TBH. So like it's like the slaves here are finding out like months later, like, hey, we're free now, and it's just like this like growing tension between like Texan slaves and Texas landowners who are like, no, you're still slaves, and they're like, everyone says we're free now. No, you're still slaves. Sorry, but y'all can't read. It's fine. So it's these Texas slaves being gaslit for months until they're finally freed on June 19th of 1865.
Hmm.
Which, if that sounds very recent, it is. If that doesn't sound like it was that long ago, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
That's the scary thing about history. It's like on one hand you're like, oh, but it
yeah.
feels like it because I wasn't alive. Must be ages
Yeah, I
ago.
wasn't
And then you're
alive.
just
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah,
There
that's
was, for reference, my Catholic university was built before that. So, you know.
yeah.
So it feels weird to have Juneteenth co opted because it feels like one, it was a very uniquely Texan thing. And then two, it was like a very uniquely like hard to corporatize thing because it was so unique for Texas blacks. So to see it really corporatized in a way that one feels inauthentic because it's not every African American, and two, in a way that no one celebrates it. Like a lot of companies are treating it like children's books think we talk about Kwanzaa, where just everything gets like a kente cloth and is like Africa goes everywhere. That's not how we celebrate it. That's not what we do.
What do you do?
So my family usually just celebrated with like family stories and a barbecue. Like it's a really like it's Independence Day. It's 4th of July basically. Like it's so no, we're not looking to the motherland. We never knew what it was because we're slaves. So like putting kente cloths and shit on everything is not the way to celebrate Juneteenth. Putting like Africa on everything and like African tribal colors on everything is not really the way to celebrate it because that's a whole part of the angst is that we're diasporate. Unless you count Liberia.
I know nothing. You know, like I just want to clarify to
Yes.
particularly those new listeners that may have come into this chaos. We've been on for
Yes.
7 minutes and we are already all
Yes.
over the place. But you know, I am in Norway
Yes.
and and I am not willfully ignorant. It's just
Yes.
there's a lot of things that we have never
No.
heard of. Like I didn't hear of
Well, and there's a
didn't
lot of this. Yes.
because I didn't hear about Juneteenth until a couple of years ago, I think.
Right.
And that was probably because it started getting, you know,
Big.
corporate and big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, I'm just, you know, trying to learn and and not, you know, to jump to not jump on any stupid bandwagons. Like I don't want to say happy Juneteenth if that's wrong,
Okay.
you know? Like,
That's what I was getting at, to your point. I'm personally okay with it. I have heard some people that it feels a little bit squick, where it's like, because I guess like, or at least like for you, I know the context. Like I know that you're not doing it like flippantly or inauthentically. I know that you're trying to seek out that knowledge and that like you are one an ocean away and things are very, very different. Before we started recording, I was regaling Carola with the story of the Alamo and she was just horrified. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, it was mostly the Texas flag thing because I'm just like I'm trying to grasp the whole that all of the states have their own flags.
Yes, every
yeah.
state has their own flag.
Because, you know, we don't do that here. And I'm like,
Every
okay.
state has their own flag. We all have our own flag. We all have our own bird. We all have our own tree. We all have our own flower. We all have our own mottos.
I mean, we have, what do you call those? We have coat of arms.
Yes.
For every, like, county or whatever.
I've seen some of them, yeah.
Yeah, but like, not flags. So it's just,
No,
you know.
every state has a flag. All
Okay.
of them. Texas actually has 6.
Of course.
Texas actually has 6 flags.
Is that why? Wait,
It's
where's
called
Six
Six Flags.
Oh my god, is that why?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Because the 6 Flags of Texas.
I'm having, yeah. Again, not willfully ignorant, but there's a lot of very American things that we don't learn. And there's just so much of it that they couldn't fit it in our very, very poor English lessons.
And that's fair. There's a lot of I don't even think we learned anything about Norway. So
of course you didn't.
It was it was that one square next to everyone else.
I mean, the most common joke in Norway is that everyone thinks that we're the capital of Sweden. but it isn't a joke because people actually think that, and it's like, we're a country. We're next to Sweden. Yeah.
I'm not even Norwegian. I would be so offended if someone said that.
It's like
that.
Yeah, and it's like they know things that people know about Norway. They know about salmon. They know about the oil. Sorry about that. They know about the whaling. Very sorry about that.
Yes.
And then of course death metal, which
Yes.
Thank you to that one dude who was lighting all the churches on fire and killing people. Like, that is exactly the the reputation we needed. Thank you very much. So, we have a great reputation out in the world.
You guys are doing great.
Yeah,
Anyways, what are we talking
fine.
about today?
We're going to talk about tags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk
Which you
about...
would see on the light box if the light box was a little higher up, but it isn't. So,
Are we ever going to just finally mount it?
no.
Okay, well, I tried.
Maybe I could. I mean, I think it does have like a thingy, so if I like put a nail here, I could hang it up for the broadcast.
Like a
Maybe
command
I'll do
hook. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about tags and tagging, mostly because, like, if you existed / exist on the internet socially when it comes to BL and BL fandom and yaoi, you have experienced a tag, whether it was on fanfic.net, Fur Affinity, Zanga,
AFF, my love. LiveJournal,
Tumblr, rest in peace, AO3. You have seen tags or some form of tagging, even if you don't actively participate in it, like having to create tags, which we'll talk about. You have embraced and been a part of tagging and tagging culture. And it started as this way that really was just like an essential part of the BL experience and really became a phenomenon of its own, which is why it merits its own episode. Yes.
No, I just remembered that I came across some really good Twitter threads on tags yesterday, and then I forgot to retweet them, and I was like, no, because I was going to refer to them in the episode, but I didn't because I'm a loser. Go on.
I'm like, yes.
I just had like a.
Would you like to share with the rest of the class?
No. I wish I could. No, no. There. Carry on.
Okay.
Carry on.
It's okay. So I'm an idiot, and I pulled up some Norwegian facts because I was tired of people begrudging Norway. Apparently, Norway introduced salmon sushi to Japan.
I think that might be right.
Y'all gave Japan salmon?
Yeah, it's the number one thing that Japan knows about Norway, salmon.
Huh. Cool. Oh, right. We also pronounce it differently. There's an L in salmon for you.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, a lot of words that I've only learned from reading, and also because I've had a lot of people lately, like in the last few years, who have completely tarnished my confidence in my English because I used to think I didn't have an accent, and then apparently I do. But what I mean is that we learn British in schools, but then we're saturated in American, and so it becomes this weird. And then I had an Irish professor, and that destroyed my accent. Yeah, so
yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. So to kick off this, what are tags?
Tags are at least supposed to be a system for, I don't want to say cataloging, but like
it's cataloging.
It's cataloging. It's marking your fiction, your art, whatever, to inform and in some cases warn people what they will encounter in this work of art. So you tag the pairing, you tag the main, the squicks. We will get to squicks probably. The warnings. Is it porn? Is it, is there death? Is there fluff? Like, there's all kinds of tagging.
Mm-hmm.
And it's meant to inform and prepare the reader of what's to come. And very importantly, if you see a tag and you know you don't like it, you can backspace out of there.
Well, and I want to amend slightly what Carola is saying, because I think that's a very modern definition of tagging. Because you may remember when we were younger,
We did.
tagging was not that robust.
No.
It was
No.
very much, you might get a tag for the pairing if you were lucky.
You might get a tag for the level of porn.
Yeah, so like going back to the citrus system, which is why I wore this shirt.
Sure.
Yeah, I planned.
Well, you're so clever.
I know. Where you get like lemons and limes. So like you might get tags for that. So to piggyback off of what Carola's saying, tags are, you can think of them a lot like hashtags in modern social media, or groups like with like. I would say my understanding of tags when I first came into this world was definitely that. It wasn't so much about warning shit. It was about, if you're looking for Full Metal Alchemist, here it is. If you're looking for Inuyasha, here it is. If you're looking for, I'm trying to think of other shows that I was looking up back in the day. Trigun. Here it is.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much about trying to warn fucking anyone, because we didn't
that's
care.
true. That's true.
Yes.
And that was in one of the threads that I saw as well, that you know, you a lot of the time you had no idea what you were going into, because it would, like, you would have the pairing and then maybe it would say like NC-17 or PG-13, but it didn't say why.
Right. Like right.
NC-17
honestly,
doesn't have to be porn.
Even then, like, we didn't really use a lot of like MC-17 back in the day, like on sites that I was using. We used more, a little bit akin to like what AO3 does a little bit, where it's like general, teen, and then like mature.
Yeah, I think it depends on what sites you frequented, because I was mostly mostly on AFF and LiveJournal, and for AFF, it was a citrus scale, and then it was like, and like I've said before, it was like NC-17 and PG-13, and again, being from Norway, you learn by doing. I didn't know what those actually meant. I had to learn it. And then also in LiveJournal, which I think is probably also why I immediately jumped to that explanation that I do, is because a lot of communities would have specific community rules where it's like tag your fics like this. And so depending on the forum you used, the tags would look a little different. But absolutely, there were a lot of sites back in the day that were just like, they didn't tell you anything.
So I was on a lot more of those sites. I was on Zanga. I was on Quizzilla, where really, like, we got general, teen, and then like mature. And mature basically meant like sex. Teen meant that you could like include some swearing. Really, there wasn't anything for violence.
Of course.
And then you could list things as lemon, lime, hint of citrus, but that wasn't anything hard coded. That was really a trust system.
Yeah.
And we've discussed
it's so subjective.
I was just getting ready to say, one person's hint of citrus is some other person's full on fucking porn.
And then you'll have someone who brings in other citrus fruits into this, you know, and they'll be like tangerine, and you're like,
what the fuck does that mean?
Where in the scale does that go?
Right. What is a pomelo? Like, what are you talking about?
I'm concerned. Yeah. And then you have like hint of lime.
Okay, I did like the hint of. I did
that too. But
I did love like hint of citrus, or it's just like you sprinkle it on as a little flavoring. I did love that.
Tell you anything.
It doesn't tell you jack or shit. Like, it doesn't tell you.
Oh, I have like literal squirt of lemon.
Right. So it's like you get a flash of fictional titty. Like, what does that mean? Like really, the tags back in the day, they did not mean anything depending on where you were. And like, if you blink and you miss it, most of us were lucky to just get what fucking series it was from. And again, that
Yeah.
wasn't really for you. That was just for the person who's like, must consume, must
Yeah.
find,
And it's
for
and
that.
it's
Yes.
and then it's paired with how incredibly awful we all were at writing summaries. And it
Yes.
was just like there were no, because in a decent summary you'd get some sort of idea what this was about, but everyone was just like, I suck at summaries, or I hate writing summaries, read it yourself. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
And it's
okay.
like, or my favorite, the ominous read at your own risk. There's like
Yeah,
more,
yeah, yeah,
what is going to happen?
yeah.
What do you mean? That was, oh my god, that happened so many times on Quizzilla for like nothing. It was like, read at your own risk. What the fuck does that mean, Becky?
Yeah. And then
What's gonna happen?
you gotten used to, like, I don't know, I used to, at least when I was younger, I used to read a lot of like crack fic. And and they would always be like, oh, read at your own risk. So you kind of get conditioned into thinking that, oh, it's, because
It's gonna be
it's
funny.
on
It's gonna be
crack. And
stupid.
then
Yeah,
one day
it's horrible.
it's horrible.
Yeah, like the Full Metal Alchemist fic that scarred me forever.
Here
That wasn't
we
tagged
go
for
again.
anything. There were no tags on that. It was just
What?
like,
But how do you even tag that? Like, that is.
Death by Dragon fucking can be a tag.
Yeah, but that was what, 20 years later?
True. That's fair. That's fair. You can say Edward jerks off into a tin can in a tag somewhere. Oh, wait, the tin can is sentient and his brother. You could put that in a tag.
At the very least, put like disembodiment or something, because it's, yeah. Yeah.
Put something. Please.
Just
Please. Go back in time and put something.
that's like,
Just
if you had
anything.
a time machine, you just travel
Just-
back.
Not even the incest was marked. And there was a Twitter thread that I remember seeing on my smut Twitter that was, if the kids are scandalized by modern BL, I would love for them to see Junjo Romantica.
Are we really? Are I'm sorry.
Yes.
Are we really in an age now
Where
where
Junjo is
Junjo?
problematic.
No, Junjo has always been problematic. You know how I
Yes.
feel about Junjo. Of
I
course,
do.
my problem with Junjo, I will say it again, is that it's, oh, kids. Okay, so you got some young twink and his moody author boyfriend? Really? You know what else has that and does it better? Do you need me to spell it out for you? Okay, my stuff.
No, it's pretty. No, we get it. We get it.
Yeah, but I was getting at, are we really at the stage where Junjo is considered old?
Yes.
Because I'm gonna go bury myself in the backyard. Like, goodbye. I'm gonna feed myself to the badger. Like, that's it. I've had it.
The badger. I
The
did hear about
badger
the
was
badger.
staring at us. It
I
was
heard
just
about
like
the badger.
full on.
I'm glad to know that you survived the great badger attack.
It was it was a very small badger, but it was,
I'm glad
yeah.
to know that you survived the great
Thank you.
badger attack.
Thank you.
Because if I'm to listen to Twitter, it sounded like the bite of 87 from Five Nights at Freddy's.
It was just the context. It was just, you don't expect a badger to stand there staring at you while you're trying to help your dad download a stupid app for his stupid motorbike, and he's like, running the bike. It is so noisy, and then the badger is just over there like, hello, humans.
I mean, you are correct. I would not expect that, but my life is better having known that. So
Yes, you're
I
welcome.
think it's important to say that the early days of the internet, tagging was very minimal, and it was
Yeah.
mostly done, frankly, selfishly. Like, it was done to group like with like. And when we did start getting, like, if there were pairing tags, when I remember, it was like, if it was like a popular pairing. No one tagged OC stuff because there was a lot of OC stuff. I'm also leaving out DeviantArt. Why do we always leave out DeviantArt? I guess because it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I also
We
didn't
always
read a
leave
lot
out
of fic on
DeviantArt.
there.
I read some fic on there and I posted some fic there. I definitely won't say it was where I was my most famous. But I do love that DeviantArt does have a tool now where it alerts you if your art was stolen for NFTs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have like
Good
a
on
really, really
them.
solid. Yeah, great job. I
But
can't believe.
didn't they also, wasn't there like a big thing about them selling people's art a couple of years ago?
Yes, but we're not going to talk about that
No.
anymore because stuff.
Good on them.
Good on them is where we're going to stop this conversation.
It's fine. Yeah, no. Why do we forget DeviantArt? I don't know.
that
I
that might
I used to
deserve.
live on that site
I did.
actually.
That might deserve like a live or something like that, like the sites that we
Yeah.
kind of like left behind.
Yeah, that would be
Because I feel
fun.
like I talk about Quizilla all the time. No one else knows what that
I
place
feel
is.
like I feel like yeah, I know what it is, but we used it in completely different ways.
Yeah, like
So I'm just
I
like, what?
feel like I feel like I talk about Quizilla constantly, and I feel like I'm talking to an audience that knows what I'm talking about, but then like I'm aware that like that's not true. Like
We need to do a live on this so you can get validation. Like
yeah,
someone
that
come
I'm
on our
old.
live and be
Yeah,
like, I
and I'm
know
like
it was me.
okay. So not a spoiler to something that we talked about, but during the Patreon episode we talked about Wank and Tell.
Ah,
And I feel like it's kind of that as well. That like if anyone ever is like, oh my god, your X username, I remember I read your stuff, I think I would die. I think I would just die.
just in general, or because it's like stuff from when you were younger. Because if someone came up to me now and were like, I read your fix from when you were 15, I would like, no, no, no.
Yeah. It's like I read your rape stuff between OCs and Full Metal Alchemist characters when you were like 14 years old. Yeah, I please kill me. Like that statement only needs to be followed by you stabbing me in the chest.
No,
I
okay.
like yeah, like don't let me live after that. Life isn't worth it. So like I feel like yeah, like it's like Wayne can tell where it's like I would love to know if this helped you. Oh my god, this was so hot.
Then there's that sound again.
Like it's that exact where it's
Yeah.
like I love the concept of it. I love it. I wish I wasn't a fucking coward because I know the minute that I put it up, it's like, oh my god, if this helped you, please let me know. Oh yeah, this was so hot last night.
Yeah, it's yeah.
That's what it feels like. Like I would be so down for it, and then someone would say it, and just
I have no idea, like, because I feel like, and I am very open, like, express your sexuality, you do you, masturbation is great, but there's, like, a very fine line between writing, oh, this was so hot, like, I love the way you write these scenes or whatever, and then flat out going, and telling the author, it's like, I feel like I shouldn't have that much of an insight into your life, like, thank you for I'm glad that it but also
yeah, but
I
also
what do you want me to say to that?
Yeah, that's also a great point. We're losing the plot a little bit. But like, yeah, it's also very much that where it's like, what is the response to that then as a creator? It's like, I hope it was good.
Or please tell me that that is not the hand you're shaking my hand with right now.
Yeah.
Like
or just like, I guess the other question that I have is like, because I'm thinking about like the fics that I wrote that were spicy. I guess the only other part that I'm concerned about is how far it would devolve me. Where it's like, what part were you jerking off to?
oh yeah.
Whomst were you envisioning? What was the point of view? Did you slot yourself into one character or both or like what? Like,
But if you
I feel like
because if you
yes.
start doing that, that is incredibly intrusive. That is like
Yeah. But I feel like I couldn't just be satisfied with I came to your erotic fan fiction.
I know, but from a writer perspective, it is kind of like it's like any other feedback apart, from how it's, in, different. But it's, you don't want someone
Apart from
like
how it's different.
I'm trying to be. I don't even know. No, I'm thinking of the people listening to us on the road trip right now. Like I'm trying to not run them off the road. But
Please
it's like
please don't let us run you off the road. We do not have liability insurance for that.
if you need to pull over.
Yeah, if you need to, please pull over to the
Pull
side of the
over.
road and
Yeah.
ingest and continue to ingest this podcast.
Yeah. No, I was saying, because, when you get feedback, I get like that
Yes.
about everything. It's like if you tell me, oh, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this couple. And I would be like, what's your favorite scene? Who do you like the most? Who do you think tops? I'll be like, you have to tell me everything. I am so starved for attention. I am my own fandom and you have to tell me. So,
Right, like
it's the same thing.
yeah, it either like makes me divide by zero, which frankly it makes me divide by zero a lot, where it's just like or like there's immediately 15 follow-up questions that I have that I don't think is appropriate.
Would you care to fill out the survey? Like,
Right, like here's an exit survey of your orgasm from my erotic fan fiction.
I need it for future.
Right, like this will, if you'd like to help the show grow, please finish this exit survey in closest proximity to your orgasm for my erotic fan fiction. Thank you.
Jesus Christ.
I'll send you a link to the Google Forms. Like,
yeah,
like it's either full just like brain short circuits, or thank you for your feedback, dear listener. I do have a series of questions that I'd like to ask you based upon your experience. Question 1: which hand did you use? Oh yes, thank you. I appreciate it. Just like.
Is that your dominant hand? I just
right. like a census taker, just like show up at your door.
Yeah.
Like, oh yes, thank you.
Oh my god!
Just show up at their house with a clipboard.
Oh my god!
So we talked about the early days of tagging. I want to get back to what Carola said about like how tagging kind of evolved in this like middle section, where I really, as much as I hate giving Tumblr credit, it was Tumblr that gave us where the tags are a fucking paragraph. We're really getting into talking about specific shows, specific fandoms, specific tropes. It's also where we start getting like humor tags, which I think can be very funny, but also can get old really, really fast because like most things, humor is incredibly subjective, and what you think is funny makes me want to punch you in the teeth.
I mean,
well, okay, so Tumblr is always a little bit frustrating for me to talk about because I was just a little too old for Tumblr. For a lot of people, Tumblr was their first.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for me.
I was so against Tumblr at first.
Yeah, same. So by the time I fell into it, I was already old. I was already bitter. And I didn't like all of these kids and how different they were doing things. So that's not Tumblr's fault. I don't begrudge in Tumblr for that. But Tumblr did not make like the elder immigration process very easy.
No.
In the way that I think like AO3 has.
But did you read fic on Tumblr?
Yes.
Because I couldn't stand the format. Like I used Tumblr for images only. I could not read fic.
Hated the formatting of it, but yes, I did read fic on Tumblr.
Okay.
It was almost entirely
so confusing.
It was almost entirely Kamubok. It was Kamui Lee and Bok Chang. Because I don't have a type when it comes to pairings.
I didn't say anything. You don't have a type. You have no types. What?
Oh, also, I tried to rewatch Yuri on Ice.
Did you?
Yes.
And?
I hate it.
No! You can't.
I hate it.
If you ever come to see me,
yes,
I am going to convert you.
Okay. It was so trite. It was so trite.
I love it so much.
It was Trope City. And I don't know why Yuri Kotsky is the main character. I don't know why he matters. I don't know why Victor is willing to uproot his entire life to go get the human embodiment of a pork bun.
You're just like you're impaling me with so many knives right now. You're just like,
but
yes,
Russian Yuri is my child, and I looked at him and I was like, "Oh, he's just mellow."
but he is, because but he is, and he's voiced by Uchi, so he is also Toy. I mean,
Yes.
Toy and Yurio are the same person. No one can
Wait,
change my
hold
mind.
on! I didn't fully process that! What?
You didn't? They have the same voice actor, and they essentially have the same personality. They are the same person. The reason I love
Toy is like my...
Yeah, because the reason I love Toy is because he's Yurio.
haven't-
Like, when he first appeared, I was like, why does he look like Yurio? He opened his mouth. I was like,
I'm
Yurio!
having, like... This is like when you compared Yukieri to Yashiro. Like, I'm having a... Oh my god,
Yeah,
he's my
I know
son.
things.
I don't
know
like
things.
that. No, you cut that shit out.
What?
But I looked at
I'm
him.
sorry.
I looked at him and I'm like, this is just mellow. Is this why I like him so much? Like, I'm
He
looking
is
at him
my
and I'm
child, and I love him so much.
like, no, I love him too. I wish he was the main character of the series. Him and his boyfriend are infinitely more interesting than Yuri Katsuki.
I mean, the thing is, I will agree with that. Like, I love Victor and Yuri. But I I also have a type. So I love Yurio and Otabek.
Yeah, like,
and then they released Welcome to the Madness, and I was just like,
yeah,
oh
and
my god.
and that's one of those moments where I have to begrudgingly like, well, that's pretty fucking cool. Like, yeah, I wish the rest of the series was like that rather than what we got.
But again, I
Please.
am also coming from the point of view of someone who is obsessed with actual figure skating, and I love this. I love this show on so many levels.
I used to love figure skating. That is something that a lot of people don't know about me.
I know
I
it.
loved figure skating.
I feel like we've talked about this.
We have not enough.
We talk about this every time we talk about Yuri on Ice.
We do, because we complain, or I complain.
And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, we're not talking about tags or tagging. I'm also trying not to shop. Hot Topic is having a sale.
Don't shop while we're recording.
Let me go shopping while we're... You were just on your phone.
I was looking at tweets about tags.
They have socks with Dobby on it.
Oh my god.
And they have overhaul chopsticks. I can eat with his face. I don't think he'd like that.
I'm concerned.
Let me go shopping on HotTopic.com, not a sponsor.
Hello, Hot Topic. If you want to sponsor us, please reach out.
Oh my god! I used to work for you.
I haven't
was in
shopped
high
at
school.
Hot Topic in so long. I remember they were my first experience, I think, with getting taxes on my purchase. And I was 18 years old, and I had just ordered from them using my hard-earned money, and I was so excited. I'd spent every coin I had, I spent on these T-shirts, and then they arrived in the mail, and they came with a fee, and I had to beg my granddad to pay it for me, and they all yelled at me because they were like, "Why did you order things if you couldn't afford it?" And I'm like, I didn't know they were gonna put taxes on top of it, even though they do say that taxes may apply, but I was an idiot, and it upsets me so much because one of those shirts, it was a Sasuke shirt, and I can't find it. It has been gone for years, and I have no idea where it is. Like, it has to be in the house, but no one has seen it for 10 years. I have no idea where it is.
When I come visit, we'll go dig it up. So we're talking about the middle era of tags, and really it's Tumblr that helped revitalize tagging. And one of the things that Tumblr did especially was making tags about warnings, because I'm gonna sound like a fucking boomer, and I don't mean to, but with the Tumblr generation came a really, really big concern about tagging for things that might be offensive. So your trigger warning tags, more of your stick tags, more tagging for things that were problematic. We'll see how this gets out of control later. But Tumblr's really were that start.
Yeah,
because again,
that's
back
true.
in the day, we didn't fucking care.
I feel like there would be like tags if it was like a death fic, like not necessarily because we have both experienced, but it did happen. I feel like
We have.
the only times I saw like warning tags, it would be like character death, or in very, very few cases, it would be like incest or rape. Because again, like we talked about, like Uchiha Zest, yeah, it was a tag, but it was a pairing tag. It wasn't a warning tag.
It wasn't a warning. It was, hey, all you Chia Zest fuckers, here's your food.
There it is. Yeah.
There it is. It's like shaking a bag of kibble. It's like, shh, shh, shh. You know, like that's it wasn't to warn us. It was to be like, hey,
But
here's
at the
your
same,
shit.
yeah,
Fucking
and at the same time, if you weren't into it, you didn't read it because it said,
yeah, we're gonna talk about that more in a minute because I have
yeah,
some umbrage about that. As I'm sure you can tell by looking at me, I have some umbrage about things.
yeah. I'm just
Um,
saying that it wasn't intentional from the author's perspective.
right,
Probably it was just
right.
that it had a function. It had a double
It
function,
did.
but
It
it
did. It
wasn't.
did.
But it was there to attract you.
It was. So now Tumblr is. It keeps trying to come back, which is very funny. Like there are people that still use it and still have an
I think that
audience
is
for it.
so weird.
Like there's a bunch of people that I follow like for certain kinks and they're like, "Yeah, we went back to Tumblr." It's like,
But why would you be on Tumblr? You're not allowed to post anything. Or,
well,
or,
cuz like
or are
the
they
certain
still doing the?
I mean, so they are, but like certain kink stuff isn't really illicit. Like stuffing and stuff like that isn't really pornographic, but it's still kink.
Hmm. I don't know because
What was that? What was that boomer noise you just made?
no, I'm just trying to make
What
sense
was that?
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to make sense of Tumblr because it's so, I don't know, because I haven't been on there for years. Every time I go in there, it's usually because I'm like looking for some GIF or whatever, and I feel like Tumblr
Mhm.
is the best place to get GIFs because people are really good at
It
GIFing.
is. It is. It
But
is.
yeah, but I because I haven't been on it since the fateful day when they terminated everything because of porn.
Mhm.
So my account still exists, but I'm not allowed to update my bio or my profile pic or anything because my account is flagged. I'm not even allowed to go back. It's funny because it keeps telling me if you want to use your account, you have to remove all of the flagged posts, which is essentially 98% of all of my content.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but you can't go back in your archive because it contains it contains flagged material. I'm like, how am I supposed to remove? So yeah, I have no
I
idea how it
have
works anymore.
not been back on my Tumblr, like logged in years, and I'm afraid to try.
Yeah, try.
I don't think mine died in the mass flagging because I shockingly didn't have a lot of explicit stuff saved there.
That is
Uh,
shocking. I have to go and let my dumb cat in because
okay.
I opened a window for him, but apparently he wants me to let him in through the door. So
Okay. Go
moron.
let the cat in.
I will.
Violence against microphone. Hello, dear listeners. This is the part of the show where I'm actually going to see if I can log into my old Tumblr. Uh, we're going to see if this works or not. Bear with us as I see if I can do that. Sure, update password. Oh my god, my old Tumblr's still here. How was there activity on it months ago?
What?
My old Tumblr is still here.
And and you have not used it?
No,
That's strange.
I still have 22 followers. Someone liked something I wrote 24 days ago. How are you people? What is happening? What is happening?
I don't know. But I
How
get
is-
that too. Like I'll have like I mean, I'm sure they're mostly bots or something, but I get like notifications that people are following me or whatever. I'm like, what? But it's dead. I haven't posted anything since when was it?
This is
2012?
yeah. I haven't posted. The last major post I have is that Tumblr died, and then something that auto shared from WordPress. What in God's name? Anyways, we're not going to stick around on my Tumblr very long. Or I'm not going to resume shopping, even though they have some very, very cute things, and I think I may have gotten your birthday present. Don't ask questions.
Okay. Apparently Tumblr died in 2018.
That sounds about accurate.
I thought it was a lot earlier. It feels like it's been ages.
It really does. I think they warned us, and then like it eventually died. Because
Yeah.
I feel like the migration happened beforehand.
But I mean,
I don't know.
I
Yes.
lived through the great live journal strikeout of
Mm-hmm.
2007, which was also
Mm-hmm.
the year, and again, not endorsing 4chan, but 4chan was very different in 2007.
I would
And
argue that 4chan has not changed that much.
I think it depends because like I only hung out in the Y board, which was the Yaoi
Mm.
board, so I don't really know about the other sub forums, and also the EGL board,
Mm-hmm.
Elegant Gothic Lolita, and obviously those are very different from a lot of others. But that was also the year that 4chan went down twice because of
Mm-hmm.
for the same reasons, I think. So,
Yeah. But Tumblr is really where we got tags as warnings.
yeah.
And I have feelings about that have evolved over the years. I went from being very like anti trigger warnings and tag. Yes.
He bit me. It's fine.
Sounds a no. Um, I used to be very like against it, and now I'm pretty like whatever about it because I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit in the outline uh, to who tags are for because we talked about the why, we talked about the what. Right now in the outline, you show up as anonymous beaver, which I think needs to be said.
I do,
Yes, on my
but I
end.
but I'm logged in.
Well,
Okay.
it says anonymous beaver, which I think is very pride appropriate. New, we finally found the lesbian version of Grinder. It's anonymous beaver.
Okay.
Um,
I can live with that.
New sticker design coming to the shop. Uh,
Anonymous beaver.
so who are tags for? We talked at the start about it being really for the individual or for the writer. And for the individual in the sense that like y'all come get your food.
Mm.
Like there was a TikTok I saw of this guy with a flute and he plays the flute and a bunch of raccoons come out of the woods.
Oh my god.
Like that's what tags were. Again, where it's like, oh, you want some Uchiha incest? It's right here. It wasn't to say, oh fuck, there's incest here. It was, oh fuck, there's incest here.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't meant to call out the problematic as bad. It was you fuckers come get your meal.
I don't think there was
Yes.
like I mean because we had flame wars,
We did have
but
flame wars.
I feel like we didn't have problematics.
No, not really.
No.
Or like by the time that something was problematic for us, it was just like a snuff film.
Yeah.
Like I do think about the things that we did think were problematic back in the day. There wasn't a lot of shipping real people, and like to this day, there's some older fans, me included, who still really struggle with like shipping real people.
Yeah.
That is, I will say, there are not many lines I'm not willing to cross. That's one of them.
I am like I think I've said this before. Like I am on one hand, I am so torn because
Mm-hmm.
I am a Visual K fan. And
Yeah.
these boys, now old men,
Mm-hmm.
they are so intimate with each other and there's so
Mm-hmm.
much like it's so hard not to like quote unquote ship them. Like you
Mm-hmm.
theorize, but at the same time, you don't want to say to their faces. You don't want to,
Mm-hmm.
like it's never sat right with me the whole fanfic thing, and
Mm-hmm.
especially not the ones where you're like tagging them, like you're actually tagging them in your smut, like
Yeah.
so they
Well,
can see it. I don't like their ads on like Twitter or whatever, and I'm like, don't do that. That's
and not even just that. Like for me, it's always been more of like, okay, so I'm not trying to like call anyone out. There was one impreg writer that I read some stuff for, and they did a thing with Ryan Bergara and Shane Madej from BuzzFeed Unsolved and The Watcher, and it's like that's taking it too far because like at least like with like K-pop and Visual K, like a lot of this, yeah, like is this mock intimacy to sell stuff. But like these are just literally two friends who are real people and like aren't really putting on a persona and have real spouses and stuff like that. And that's weird to me that you now have like decided that they're gay and having bait. Like
yeah,
that's a line too far
and like
for me.
Dan and Phil comes to mind. Like, I've never
Yes,
watched either of them, but it was such a huge thing. Like, the only reason I know who they were, you
is
know,
because of the fic.
yeah, and it's like it just I don't know.
Yeah, and like,
And I mean, this is coming from me. Like, I'm the kind of person who, like, I don't want to know if you like me, even. I definitely
mhm,
don't want to know if you have any kind of sexual fantasy about me. And I
correct.
have had the experience, and it's so uncomfortable. Like, I mean, obviously, we are a couple. I have a girlfriend, but I have had
Hmm.
the experience of people coming up to us at like cons, telling us that they ship us because we're visible in our community, and it is so gross because it's like you don't know
Yeah,
us.
I
For
don't.
all you know, our relationship, I mean, it isn't, but for all you know, we have a really toxic relationship and we hate each
Yeah,
other at home, and you're just gonna be like standing in
I.
front of us like, you're so cute, I ship you. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't like that for you. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not even
that
there, and
it's
like, I
like
don't.
it's only happened like a couple of times, but it is so weird. It's like, so I can't imagine
Yeah,
what it must be like to be like a YouTuber, and you're just like doing your thing, and then someone is like writing fic about you and your best
right,
friend.
right. And like, again, I'm not trying to like dog anyone who like
No,
that's your
no,
thing, but like that to me was like that was, everyone has a line. Everyone has a line. That's mine. That's my line where it's like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not okay with that. And like I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Like if someone was like if someone ever said like, "Oh, there's fanfic of us." Like I'd be like, "Ugh."
yeah,
Like I'd be super uncomfortable with that. Like
yeah. Like, I mean, we're friends, but
mhm.
I don't want, it's yeah.
Yeah, like also I realize I said that and that means that by the nature of the internet,
Please,
that
please,
probably exists.
no,
Please
no,
don't write
thank
fanfic.
you.
Not the sexual kind at least. Like you can have us just like having like weird mythical adventures, but like nothing intimate.
The quest
Uh
for better tagging.
yeah, the quest for better tagging. As we get back to tags. Uh so you start seeing this shift towards like trigger warnings and stuff like that. And I understand now why that happened. And what made me really understand it was actually in part Carola and explaining that a lot of that isn't just for the reader, it's also for the writer. So that if someone does get mad, which inevitably they always do, uh, you can say, "Well, I did warn you."
It's
I mean,
right
it
there.
doesn't work because the internet's broken.
It
It
would
doesn't
help.
work.
It would help if people knew how to read, but
Mm, I don't want to say that it's just down to reading because I feel like like I talked about this in I talked about this a few times, so I won't use this necessarily as an example, but like I have dead parents. So sometimes reading stuff that is like trigger warning tagged like major character death or stuff like that can really, really affect me. But also sometimes it doesn't.
mm,
It's not on that writer because they've already told me what my reaction is. Because sometimes it's really profound and awful and I hurt. And I read it and
mm.
I still kept going. And other times, whatever. This character died and he's dead in a ditch and I don't care. It just depends. And like that's not
Yeah,
on that writer to know where I am, what my headspace is. Because and I'm absolutely we talked about dead dove do not eat in the live. I'm absolutely that person that 8 times out of 10 sees that bag that says dead dove do not eat and I still open the bag.
you do.
I do. And like that's not anyone's fault but me. And if you follow any of my socials, you probably later get to see me just like screaming into a bag about it later because it's like I opened the bag that says dead dove don't eat and it's like
You
well
do.
yeah
You
you
do.
fucking idiot it says dead dove don't eat.
You'll
It's like
be in
but
the Discord like, oh
I
my
will
god.
I will like but if you see any of that that's never on the author, that's never on the fic, that's like why did I do this, it's on me. So I don't think it's as easy as saying, oh, well, people don't read. It's more on I think that people, and I mean, obviously there are just some people who don't read, so I'm not trying to like fully scapegoat. I think a lot of it also is on, that's sort of the problem with talking about trauma and traumatic things, is that sometimes it's totally okay and it doesn't affect you, or it affects you in a way that's positive. And positive is in like you still feel good after like
Mm,
that cry or something like that.
yeah.
Um, or sometimes it's absolutely debilitating and like you can't recover and you're not okay.
Yeah.
Which,
And it's, yeah.
yes.
And it's like you said, because it does depend a lot on the situation. Like, how are you
Mm-hmm.
feeling that day?
Mm-hmm.
What is your mental state?
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many, like, potentially thousands of people reading these fics, and everyone's gonna
Mm-hmm.
have different needs and different experiences and a
Absolutely.
different day. And it's like I said in the Patreon app that I was talking about my unfortunate experience with that audio drama I was listening to, that I can subject myself to things if I
Mm-hmm.
know, like, because seeing a tag doesn't necessarily mean that I won't read the thing or watch the thing. It just means that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now I'm prepared, and
Right.
that prepares me for the thing, and maybe I'll handle it better.
Exactly. Like that's usually all it means, is that, oh, I've been apprised of this situation. So now when it does come, you know, yeah, it probably still hits me like a ton of bricks, but so like, okay, by nature of trauma, you tend to attract a lot of people that also have trauma. So by me having dead parents, I also have a lot of friends that have dead parents. Um, so we kind of have this like unofficial system called "Is this dead parent approved?" Like, is there something in here that might trigger you if you have dead parents? And that doesn't necessarily just mean like major character death. Sometimes it's different talks about different topics that can very easily
Mm.
be triggering. I don't know why I was going to spoil for Endgame, but like, oh, like people, like it's been years. You guys have seen Endgame, but like the opening of Avengers Endgame, there's a lot of talk about like Tony Stark thinks he's gonna die
Yeah.
because he's like abandoned in this spaceship, and like he's like, oh, and he's like leaving this last message to Pepper, his wife, and like that was really triggering for like me and my friends who had also both
Mm.
lost fathers, of like listening to this man who is like very very aware that like these are his last moments and he thinks this is it. That was really hard for us to deal with. And even though like nothing happened to him in that moment, that was very triggering for us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like we'll heads up that to each other. Like if we go see a movie, or if it's like so I did that for Endgame. I saw it opening night and I told my friends, "Hey, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like you might need to pack some extra tissues. What's your headspace like? Like how are you feeling? Because something's going to hit you. And I want you to be prepared for that, because, in getting back to fan fiction, it can greatly affect how you feel about this work in ways that's frankly unfair because of your feelings.
Mm.
That doesn't make the movie bad. That doesn't make the fanfic bad. Those are
Doesn't
your
make the
feelings.
author bad.
Oh my god, doesn't make the fucking author bad. I'm so I spend so much time like second and third hand dealing with anti drama. And
Hmm.
I am so exhausted for these creators that are more famous than I am.
I know.
I am
It's
so exhausted
I don't
having
understand.
having to listen to what these creators are going through, because it just doesn't make sense.
Listen, no creator should have to hire fucking lawyers
No.
because of a drawing on the internet or a
No.
text they put on the internet.
No.
Like, no.
No. It shouldn't be like that. And like, it's easy to say, oh well, yeah, just fucking read. There also has to be, and I think this is also getting back to tagging, there has to be some culpability on the end reader that I think a lot of people kind of stopped, where like all the onus is on the writer for tagging and making sure that the tags are in place and making sure that you tag everything correctly. But that doesn't put a lot of onus on us as readers, that we don't have to do this. And like one thing that Carola and I have both spoken to in our early BL experience was how many things we came upon unwittingly
Oh yeah.
because they weren't tagged and no one cared about us, but also we were minors and we shouldn't have been there.
Sometimes you gotta wonder, how do we still love BL so much? Because we have been through some
That is
awful.
a very,
Yeah.
you know what? That's a good question. And you know, it's weird to think that, yeah, I can definitely see how there are some people who are like, yeah, I don't like this shit anymore. It's weird. Like everything I saw was only ever rape and all of it is incest and awful and I don't like this. And it's like, there's a part of me that wants to get defensive and there's another part of me that's like, huh, you know what? If you started in like 2005, 2006, 2007, yeah, I can totally see how that was your experience and I hate that for you.
Yeah. And I hate
Like,
that for the genre because
yeah, like
it's not representative.
it's not. So like, yeah, same. Where it's like, you know what? Like my gut is to get defensive and be like, fuck you. No, it's not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then there's another part of me that's like, huh, you're right. Like if you, especially like if you came into this when we were, yeah, I can see how you would draw that conclusion.
Yeah, because sometimes we'll like go back to things and you'll be like, oh
like,
my
oh, this was bad.
God, wow, this is so much worse than I remember.
There's
You know?
there's a lot of that
Yeah.
where it's like, oh man, this is much worse than I remember it being.
And
I
it's
remember
also
it just being annoying. Yes.
And it's also so funny when, like I'm now on a never ending quest to accumulate all of these series that I didn't own when they first came out. So I'm buying a lot of secondhand stuff. And it's
Yay.
so funny when you are reading things that you remember people raving about 15, 20 years ago. And you read them now and you're just like,
this isn't that bad.
I don't. But it's like, but sometimes it's like, because it was one of the better ones, it would be something that people were like, oh, this is toxic at all, like this is so much better than that series. And then you pick it up 15 years later and you're like, yeah, this is very dark and not great.
Yeah, there is a lot of that. I was in a Discord server talking with a friend and he was saying, I don't really like podcasts because they don't have a visual element. And I was like, oh, one of my podcasts, like we do like a pretty hefty visual element. Like it's like a whole part of the show is video. And he's like, oh, what is it about? And I'm like, oh, it's about BL and Yaoi. And he's like, yeah, I don't really want to listen to that. And I wanted to get offended. Like my gut was like, no, like we talk about interesting things. Like, and I wanted to get defensive and be like, oh, you're just like everyone else who doesn't understand. And I'm like, no, Amanda, like you're talking about a weird niche thing that not everyone likes. Shut the fuck up. Like, but like there was, and like
Yeah,
obviously, yes,
it's a gut instinct. You want to, because
yeah, like it was a gut instinct to be like, no, fuck you. Like we talk about things, and I'm proud of what we do, and like it isn't all porn. Like we have real conversations about real things.
But
And
it's like,
then,
yeah, but it's like, it's like every year because FutureCon is right around the corner. Jesus Christ. We're not stressed. We're fine. And every single year, I mean, this is the third year, but we always talk about how the people who should be at FutureCon are the people who are like, no, I'm not going to go because they're all evil fetishization. It's all fetishization and pedophilia and, all of these horrible things. And I'm like, if you just got your free ticket and listened to some of these panels, you would understand. Yeah.
Not that. Like,
And,
and not to diminish, there is a lot of that.
yeah, but it's not all that. And
No.
you can't, and we keep harping on this, but you can't really judge a person based on the fictional content that they enjoy.
No,
or
you can't
even
at all.
or even like everyone is obsessed with true crime, it doesn't mean that, you belittle people who've actually been murdered. I don't know.
Where was that going?
I'm just, I
Where
don't
was
know. I was
okay
trying,
because
because I was trying to
yeah,
rescue myself from saying
true
that
crimers do
yeah.
sometimes. Okay, so I like true crime. I watch a
I
lot of
love
true
true
crime.
crime.
Can we go on the crime cruise?
I don't want to go on a cruise. I
I
mean,
love cruises.
but you're talking to an emetophobic person who gets motion sickness. I'm not going on a damn
Oh,
cruise.
right.
I'm not.
Never mind.
No.
I forgot about that. Never mind. Yeah, that's hell.
I am a joke.
Statement retracted. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Cruises are me. Okay, yeah, no, statement retracted. Totally forgot about all that shit. But like, I'm a true crime person and I like true crime. But like, and yeah, some true crimers do have a problem
Yeah.
where they fetishize serial killers. There's a lot of talk right now about who gets to buy Charles Manson's stuff after he dies. Murderbelia is a thing
Yep.
where I really regret that I didn't get to write Dorothea Puente letters when she was in jail.
Should I be concerned?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, probably. Like there is that side to it, but there's also this side that like listens to it because it's genuinely a pretty like I don't want to say like a chill way to deal with like it's a very passive way to deal with the crushing feeling that like especially as women we're unsafe.
Yeah.
And like especially like as a woman of color, as a queer woman of color, that I am unsafe. That I am unsafe in society.
The amount of like podcasts and documentaries and things that I immerse myself in that is about violence against women is absolutely ridiculous. But I'm in control of it. I can turn it off. And I'm not one of these people, like, because I know people personally who are really sensitive to this kind of stuff that can't listen to it. They can't watch it. I can. And even though it is like, I know that this happened and I have such, like, obviously it affects me, but I can, because I can sort of separate myself from it,
Yeah, same.
Until I go for a midnight walk to look at the bats and I realize that, oh, now I'm that woman going out at midnight in the dark. The woman in all my podcasts. And that, well, yeah.
Why is that such a mood?
I know, right?
Why is that such a mood? And it's like, oh yes, I've done it. I'm the person that goes missing. So back to tags and tagging. Tags are for both the writer and the reader. That is important to hallmark on always. It is for both of us.
Yep.
It is for you as reader to understand what you're getting into, and for us as writer to, and this is where it's hard, to be honest about what you're writing about.
And
yes.
Small side note, sometimes just to categorize your stuff. Because if you're using sites like Tumblr or LiveJournal, it's very nice to be able to click on a tag and find the exact thing. Remember the exclamation marks ones? Where it was like exclamation mark, and then it would say something, like a pairing name or a tag. Because that was how you indexed. That was the index.
I remember those. There was a lot of that
those.
There was a lot of that for Hetalia.
I'll bet.
Okay.
Because Hetalia is so massive. It's like 7,000 pairings.
Okay. There was someone on TikTok who was dragging Hetalia and the Hetalia fandom. And I'm not going to say that any of that was incorrect. What I will say is that I need you to tone it down. Like, Hetalia very much feels like, at least for me, that, like, it's so easy to make fun of it and so easy to make fun of its fandom. But it feels like when someone else calls your baby ugly after you called your baby ugly, like, I can call my kid ugly. You can't agree with that statement. Like, that's what Hetalia fandom feels like. Because, like, Hetalia was super formative to me.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I acknowledge that Scandinavia and the world came first and blah, blah, blah. But, like, I mean, technically, that little one about Afghanistan came before both of those, but
But I get what you're saying. It's kind of like, again, to bring up a personal favorite of ours. Like, we can berate Yuki 80 all we want because we love him. But if someone else, who doesn't have the
the same like investment.
Yeah. And if I hear someone else talk shit about gravitation, I'll be like, sit your ass down, let me lecture you now.
Right, like it feels like there's going back to like some angst when it comes to like being a yaoi fan, especially like an older one. It feels like, especially like we sound like such boomers, but like especially like these kids who just like love to dog on this shit. It's like, okay, first of all, like we had 3 options. We had 3 options to former personalities. Yes, in hindsight, they're very problematic. So is everything. Like, it just feels very easy to like dog this stuff in like bad faith when the truly hard thing to examine is that the stuff that you think is progressive and transgressive was influenced by this stuff.
Yep.
That's the really bitter pill to swallow, is for as much as you guys want to dog on gravitation and shit, you can see a lot of parallels from other series that directly are influenced by gravitation.
And other series too.
Pop off, I guess. Yeah. Like, it's like, so pop off, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just us being old.
But we're allowed. We've seen some things. We've been through.
We have. So I know you don't really publish fan fiction anymore.
No.
I do appreciate the research that you had to do though for this, because
I had a great time. Yes, I now have several tabs open with fics I need to read because of the tags, because I was just like going. Yes, that too. I discovered so much. Like, I don't know why, but apparently scallop Eden is a thing in the like Shingeki.
He's a scallop?
I don't know. I haven't read them, but there were multiple, and it's like they're all tagged scallop ! Eden, and I have so many questions.
Like the thing in the ocean.
Yeah, I guess. Like I have so many questions, and then also, and I can't believe I didn't think of this, which is like, I mean, obviously, when we all went into lockdown and everything was all about cleaning all the time, I obviously thought of Captain Levi. I did, because he's my favorite clean freak. But for some reason, I never thought about the possibility of a world full of fanfics where you're stuck, where like you're a character in Shingeki, like, Eden, for instance, stuck in quarantine with Levi, and now I'm like, oh my god, I have to read all of these.
I will admit I don't know a lot about Attack on Titan, but that sounds like hell.
It sounds awful. It honestly does. Like
I'm gonna fully admit I don't know a lot about Attack on Titan, but that sounds.
I literally think one of my absolute favorite things in the entire series is, I can't remember which season this is, but it's before Eden goes all Jesus with his hair and everything, and they're in this cabin in the woods, and like everyone is doing stuff, like some people are getting firewood and some people are peeling potatoes, and then Eden is running around with a cloth on his head, and he's like, did you guys clean properly? And they're like, oh, come on, we didn't clean. Did you clean the underside of the table? And they're like, why would we clean? And then Levi walks in, and then look on Eden's face, like he looks absolutely terrified. Like, this kid is not afraid of Titans, but that man comes in and they haven't cleaned properly, and he looks like he's about to die on the spot. And it's the funniest thing. My favorite thing in the world, clean freak Levi. It's just.
Did I tell you about the fanfic that to this day my best friend and I crack up on?
Which one?
So there was a fanfic that I saw. This was a DeviantArt fanfic. And it was a stripper ! Levi set to Yeah by Usher.
Yes! Yes, you mentioned this.
And to this day, like if we bring this up in conversation, we both just like head and hands start laughing. Because just, again, very limited understanding of Attack on Titan. But I know who Levi is. I've seen a lot of porn of him.
He's perfect.
He doesn't look like he'd be a stripper.
I didn't think so, but there is this
There are compelling arguments that can be made.
There's this great pole dancer cosplayer in Japan who's done a lot of pole dance as Levi, and I'm like, I'm sold.
Okay, that's fair. Again, don't have a lot of point of reference, so I'm willing to. And then, Yeah by Usher, which is not a sexy song.
It is not. I think anything that has Lil Jon in it.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
And like, I like Usher. I got to see him in concert when I was in high school. That's not a sexy song.
It isn't.
But yeah, it was set to Yeah by Usher. And like,
how do you strip to Yeah by Usher?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have answers for you.
And all the kids are like, what the fuck is that song?
Yeah, who the fuck is Usher?
I'm sure they know who Usher is.
Do
right?
they?
I mean, I stopped listening.
The right is why I'm concerned. It's like, surely they know who Usher is.
But it's just, you know, I'm not qualified because I fell into a hole of Visual K in 2005 and I've barely listened to Western music ever since. So I have no idea.
You haven't escaped. It's been
No, I'm very happy.
50 years and you
I am
haven't
very
left.
happy
I
here,
did
actually.
not say you were unhappy or that you need to be rescued. I just said it's been a while.
It's been a while. I feel like if I hear a song, you know, I'll be like, I don't know why Taylor Swift is the first thing to come to my mind, but I feel like me knowing "Shake It Off," like that's a recent song. I thought The Weeknd, you know that one song, the Blinding Lights song. I thought that was an actual 80s song. So, you know. Hello. I am very on top of everything Western. Like
you
know.
have suddenly made me feel very, because like I don't think that I'm typically very like hip and aware with the kids. You have just made me feel like full like baseball cap backwards.
Yeah.
I'm young and hip and like, and I don't like that. Like that's not anything that makes me happy or makes me feel excited. Like you have suddenly made me feel like a child.
Listen, I had to Google, and this isn't even that long ago. This was like in this winter or whatever. I had to Google to find out if Lil Nas and Lil Nas X were the same person, okay? Because I vaguely remembered someone named Lil Nas from like when I was
remember Nas.
Yeah, like Nas.
And then there's Lil
like,
Nas X.
Is this the same person? And
They are not the
I had to Google it. I know nothing, but like if you want to talk to me about like Visual K and whatever G is doing every second of his life, I know.
Still, to this day, the first time you did that, I was so mad at you that you talk about him, that you refer to Gact as G like he's your fucking friend.
It's because oh no, see now I get old. I don't want to talk about him on the podcast. Okay, it's because
we don't have to talk about him on the podcast.
But in my defense, people do call him G, and this is very timely.
I never said they don't.
When in 2005, this is why I don't want to talk about him. In 2005, he motion captured and voice acted and was the design for Genesis. In Final Fantasy VII, Dirge of Cerberus, and Crisis Core, and they called Genesis Project G. And then, fast forward a couple of years, G did a band called Yellow Fried Chickens, who I have seen live, and they started nicknaming him G, and I started writing it in code because I don't like talking to people who know who he is, because either you'll get people who are like, oh my god, you remember, you know, or they'll be like, I fucking hate, and I'll be like, I love him too much. I can't. So my secret is out, okay? I love Gukt more than anything on this planet. I have seen him live 10 times. Okay? Fine. There you go. I have met him. I'm very happy. Everything is fine. See what you did? You have to cut all of this out.
No, I don't. And I won't. And you can't make me.
It's not like
I
it's a secret. It's like people
it's
come into my
I'm about to
house
say,
and
you
it
make
will
it
be
sound like it's this like obscure knowledge that like I climbed a mountain and you're sitting at the top of like a fucking Sherpa and you pull a lever and behind this like bookcase there's all this material that no one has ever found out about.
it is literally you walk into my
Right.
house
Like
and I
I
have
do
I
yes.
have a life size, I kid you not, I have a life size dakimakura of him shirtless sitting in my living room.
I don't know why my brain was having a hard time envisioning life size. I guess it's because I'm stupid. Because when you say life size, for whatever reason, I'm thinking like 10 feet tall.
No, he isn't that tall. I
Yeah,
actually
like my brain really was struggling with
and I
that.
mean
Where I'm like, why
when
do I think that that's so big?
you say 10 feet and I'm like, I don't even know how much that is, so I'm just kidding. Like I'm just assuming that's not right. But no, I have
No.
like, because I have seen him right in front of my face. He actually isn't that tall, which was
Yeah,
surprising.
he's
I
not.
need to
Like
shut up. Oh my god.
Miyavi is not that tall.
Miyavi is actually he's 186 centimeters, so he's taller than G. I think G claims to be 184, but I don't think he is because when I saw him in
I'm
real life,
lying. He was tall.
yeah, Miyavi is tall.
I saw him in concert once, and I think I was just so surprised by the fact that he is like an immortal vampire. Like, years have gone by, and he looks the exact same as the dreams I had about him when I was younger.
It's the visual K magic. Like these
Like, he really like if the news were to come out tomorrow that like Miyavi was like a soul sucking vampire, I'd be like, yeah, yeah, that checks.
Yeah, but I mean, all visual kei artists are essentially vampires. Everyone knows this.
Yeah, like
Like,
if news were to come out tomorrow and it's like, yeah, I'm actually 3,000 years old and a vampire, I'd be like, yeah, yeah,
this
that
is
checks.
why this is why Visual Prison was so funny to me because Visual Prison they were vampires and they were visual kei artists, and then
Hmm.
it was. Watching it was such a surreal experience. I haven't actually finished watching it because I suck, but it was such a surreal experience as someone who has, been immersed in visual kei since 2004, and then you had all of these again going back to our actual overhanging
Topic.
topic, all of these
Hmm.
kids out there who are like, oh my god, you can't bring yaoi into visual prison. I'm like, do you even know what visual kei is?
Right.
Like,
Do you
have
know?
you seen these men?
Right. Do you know where we are? Like, yeah, they're all what? Like, oh my
They're
god,
all a
people.
little bit gay, and it's like
All of
we
them
love
are a
them
little
for it,
gay. All of them are a smidgen gay, but
and they're
we
vampires. I'm sorry. This is
no,
what
you're not.
I am sorry. I because I don't like talking about him. I mean, I do, just not
I was about to say,
in
I don't
public.
think you can. I don't think you can say that you don't like talking
Do
about
you
him, as we
see
have
how
talked about.
happy? Like I'm like
I
glowing.
You are like that's why it's so funny to me. Is that like you always say that, and I don't think you're correct. Like I
But
think that you yes.
I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna stop talking about him. It's just
I'm
he
having a
just
wonderful time.
he just showed himself in public for the first time in 9 months because he's been really sick. And it was so nice to actually see his face and hear him talk again. I was like, oh my god,
I'm not
I
laughing.
cried.
At the
I
fact
did
that
cry.
he was sick. It's that you described him like we describe Poxitani Phil, where he
The
revealed
groundhog?
himself. Like he revealed himself. In
Are you
public.
comparing him to a groundhog?
That's the way you made him sound to me. Was
He's-
that like he's a cryptid that only arrives. He descends from the mountains like the Grinch. That's why I was.
I mean,
He climbs down from the peak of this mountain, and he like does a little catwalk. He lets everyone see him, and then he goes back up the mountain.
okay, the way I framed it. But you gotta remember that I have spent the past 9 months despairing after we found out he was sick. And then,
That's
they
true. That's
finally
fair.
revealed what was wrong with him, which didn't make me feel any better. And then now that I know that he's on his
Okay.
way to recovery. I'm very
Yeah.
relieved and I have a lot of emotions. Okay.
And I by no means am trying to take that from you.
Welcome to the
There is
Guckcast, people. This is
so we bounce between the Bokuwaka cast, the Gravitation cast, and then the Gact cast.
yeah,
I'm having a
okay.
great. I know. I'm having a wonderful time. I love
I
this.
don't want people to see this side of me. You have like,
No.
but it's.
I'm
But I'm
I'm
just.
a chaos gremlin.
I'm going to shut up. I will. I'm just saying this. I'm just throwing it out there because now I've already shown the crazy.
Yes.
You all, now you all know the real me,
We
and I
do.
will say this: if you
Yes.
don't like that man, I have no idea what's wrong with you. Like, okay,
He's beautiful.
if you don't like his voice, that
You're
man,
wrong.
yes, you are wrong. I
You're
love
wrong.
him. I love him more than anything in the entire universe, and everyone knows. So it's like,
Yeah,
There we
he's a
go.
very attractive man.
do you?
And
No.
also what?
No, I'm gonna shut up. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm just saying. I'm so sorry to all our listeners.
You tried to give me shit at the start of the show for talking about Texas history, and now you have devolved
I did not.
into simping about Gact. And I'm not saying that that's negative.
I'm
just
entitled. I'm entitled to my religious belief. It's fine.
I'm literally. I'm
I am
actually
not-
drinking tea this time. I almost spit out my tea.
I'm not even kidding. Okay, since we are on the topic, I am not even kidding. Our Christmas tree.
Does it have him as a star?
Yes. We he sits there's a star with his face glued onto it in a Santa costume sitting on top of our tree. We celebrate his birthday for 3 days every single year. Like, I'm not even kidding. And when I say
The
I
thing
mean
is that
Yeah.
I know that you're not. That's the thing. Like, there is no part of me that assumes that you have any reason to lie about this. I know you do.
I'm so glad this will be out on the internet forever. I can't wait to become like a meme where people are like, I'm gonna be the new leave Britney alone. Like,
I mean, he's doing pretty well in his career after that. Becoming mimetic is a pretty good marketing strategy.
I don't know if I have the mental strength. How long have,
But I do,
yeah.
so I can profit off of you.
Anyway, tags. Why are we talking about what happened?
20 minutes passed and we've been talking about that. And we don't know how we got there.
I'm so sorry. Oh no. This is my actual life.
It's phenomenal. It's like, what happened? It's been like a shocking amount of time.
I just want to say that if you are only listening in audio and you're not seeing the absolute joy on my face when I talk about this stupid man, you're missing out.
Yeah, if you weren't enjoying me as the smuggest bitch, just the smuggest.
Congratulations, you cracked me. You made me do it. It only
I feed off of chaos. That's what keeps me looking youthful. It's what keeps these cheeks up. So what are some tags that at least I use when I'm writing my fic? I have to use a lot of underage. I don't know why I keep doing that. I like teacher student.
I just have a hunch that it definitely helps that most media focuses on high schoolers. Because
Yes.
apparently you can't have an exciting storyline with anyone who is over, 18. That doesn't happen.
No, apparently you can't. And yeah, yes.
And if you age them up, apparently that is also wrong. So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Your face right now is like
Just
Amanda.x has stopped working.
oh my god. People are
It's true.
I wish that we cared about actual children the way that people care about fictional characters.
Oh, who cares about actual children?
Yeah, but Deku needs to be emancipated because he's being bullied by Bakugo.
I would like to see him bullied by Bakugo. That's all I'm saying.
I'd like to see him be bullied harder by Bakugo. Maybe he'll grow some damn personality.
He has a personality.
Where?
I love him. I love his little nerdy face and his little notebooks and, I don't know. I like him.
Once more, I think he is the least interesting character of his series, and I would love for it to focus on someone else.
Can you imagine if it was the Bakugo show? It would be like, oh my god.
Yes, I can.
It should be the Tamaki show because clearly he was
I
born
don't
to
think
be a
there'd
protagonist.
be a show.
No, I know, right?
There'd be no show. It would just be like him inside, like screeching for people to leave him alone. There'd be no show. Nothing would happen. Unfortunately,
I love him. Yeah.
Unfortunately, nothing would happen. He doesn't want to be noticed like that. So I use a lot of like underage just because nature of stuff. I have not posted a Dead Dove Do Not Eat. I don't even know what I would write that would be Dead Dove Do Not Eat. I cannot think of anything that I've posted that I've thought about recently that deserves Dead Dove Do Not Eat.
No. I used to think that it was related directly to death in some way, like particularly gruesome death because of the... But of course, I didn't know the reference. I didn't know where it came from, so it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, a lot of... It's always interesting because you actually corrected me on this, that it's an earlier reference in Arrested Development.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, you literally said that.
Yeah, because I read the definition. But that was last week. I don't remember what happened last week, okay? I've had a very hard week.
I'm like, but you did, you said it.
Yes, I was reading it. I have not retained any of that knowledge. No, you're right.
Excuse me as I perish over here.
The only thing I remember is you mentioning Arrested Development, and then we were talking about the definition, and then I Googled it, and I read the definition. Okay. But I can't,
Needless to say, Carola corrected me a little bit on that, because I always assumed that it was strictly from Arrested Development. It is actually an older reference that goes back to one of the Friday the 13th. I was going to say Friday Night Lights for some reason. That is a completely unrelated show. That is a very unrelated show. Brain, what have you done? It's been a long day, apparently. Okay. So, I really like Idiots to Lovers.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly because of Matt and Mello. Because those are obviously married men. And just unfortunately, sometimes they are too stupid to realize it.
As we established earlier today in our private chat, they are both severely malnourished, and that might lead to stupidity.
They're so malnourished. Why are they being fed?
Apparently, Wammy's house couldn't afford feeding the kids.
Why do they not have food?
Context: I was reading the Death Note short stories today because I got the English translation, and there was a surprise picture that had both Matt and Mello in it, and I sent it to Amanda, and we were like, "Why are they so thin? Like, why?"
Apparently, no one has fed them.
Oh no!
Ever, and they just look so skeletal, and it's like, what are the proportions? What is happening? Who are children? No one has fed them. Let's see. So I use Idiots to Lovers a lot. There's Angst.
Oh, Angst.
There is Rape Non-Con and Dub-Con just because I'm old. I'm old. I don't have an excuse. It just is.
You've been affected by all of those things that you were subjected to when you were a kid, and reading things you shouldn't have been reading, and they were all Dubcon, and none of them were tagged.
Nothing was tagged. I have like some fluff in here.
Oh, really?
Like aspects of fluff. A hint of fluff.
I'm
genuinely.
genuinely surprised because I feel like you're like allergic.
There's This mug actually says I'm small and sensitive, but also fight me, and it has a cat with a knife. So yes,
Yes, yes.
it's like a hint of fluff. It's like, have you ever seen birds perch on those anti-bird spikes?
Yes.
It's like the soft nest on top of spikes. That's literally what it is. It's
It's
the
you.
soft nest.
You're trying to sprinkle just a little bit of like fluff on top of all the
Yeah,
all
like
the
there's
pain.
murder, there's incest, there's rape, there's all this other horrible stuff, and then like a
But
blink if you miss it.
but it works because let me tell you, I know that you have seen me tweet about this because
I
I
have.
have one exact thought in my head this entire like all day these days. I am watching Kid Porsche. It is the love of my life. I love this series. It has everything. You know, you had me at Mafia. And so Mafia guy gets a new bodyguard, they fall in love. And
Mhm.
there's so much drama and backstabbing and people are being shot left and right. But in between, they're just like being fluffy boyfriends in bed, and I'm just sitting here squealing like a small child. I love them so much. It's very efficient. Okay, so they killed off my favorite character, but at least I get to see at least I get to see them cuddling. Actually, we don't know if he's dead yet. He'd better be alive. I'm fine. My point is, it does work to sprinkle a little bit of fluff
Are
on
you
top of all the
fine?
trauma. No! No, I'm not.
Because
You
I
need-
don't think you are.
You should watch it. It's really good.
I keep getting told that I would like
It's
it.
so
And
good.
I have not watched anything new
Oh
in
my
a
god.
horrifying amount of time. And
I'm
that's no
s-
one's fault.
I'm so obsessed. I didn't think I could be this obsessed with anything again.
I mean,
Like,
I'm genuinely happy for you. I am. Like I'm
I am
genuinely
dist-
happy for
oh
you.
my god, I love this so much.
Okay.
Every time Kin smiles, I just die on the inside. I'm fine.
I'm trying to think of what other stuff I have on here. Of course, there's Dark Past. There's past notes of trauma and shit. Except for the one aggressively research Hitalia fanfic that I did, where I was looking up actual maps and like everything
Oh,
is
yeah, that
translated
one.
into French. There
But
is
you know-
no like yes.
it's very interesting hearing you read these tags because even though I don't, publish fic anymore, it makes me realize how many of these I absolutely did not use when I used to post because I would be like, lemon NC-17 angst fluff. And
Well,
then it's
and,
like obviously there's going to be trauma, but I didn't put it in my tags.
Well, and I think it's important to mention that like I'm on AO3. So there's more space for that tagging
Mm.
here. Like the old me, no, I would never have tagged like this. If you found my old username and used the Wayback Machine to find what I was posting, no, it was not this robust in tagging. I had to learn. I had to learn how to tag this descriptively. And you can see where I do that. Where some of the first stuff I posted on AO3 is not that descriptively tagged. And it gets more descriptive the more I get comfortable with using AO3 and understanding the audience and stuff there.
Mm.
But you can see me learning and relearning how to tag if you go back and read my AO3 stuff.
I love fandom history.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
So those are some of the tags that I get to use. Carola, would you like to tell the audience what our two new reoccurring segments?
Aren't you? Yeah. I was for a second. Yes. Mandatory segment number 1. Is this fetishizing gay men?
I'm sure someone can make an argument.
When I saw this in the outline,
Yes.
I was like, how could it possibly be? Because you're doing everything you can. This also goes for the next bit. It's like, which is this problematic? And I'm like, how can it be a problematic fetishization when we are literally doing everything to make the experience as comfortable for everyone as you can? And just, I don't know. But this is a question. These are questions we now have to ask in every episode.
They are. And, there's a part of me that, like, it kind of goes back to that conversation that we had about queerbait a little bit, where could there be an argument made that, well, you fanfic writers and readers. You guys only look for the problematic stuff and blah blah blah. There's a conversation that can be had about how having access to this stuff isn't great. That even having access to problematic content like this, like the whole like anti-bullshit conversation, the like, oh well, it wouldn't be a problem if you guys weren't even writing this stuff. You're right, it wouldn't exist. But these two things aren't the same.
Nope.
So is this fetishizing gay men? No. Is this problematic? I mean, inherently no. I'm sure someone will make an argument, but inherently no.
Inherently no.
Inherently no. This is the part of the show where I would love to say thank you to our patrons. Thank you to Carme, to Jay, to Lauren, to Jamie, to Weasley, and to Rin. We are so appreciative of all of you.
I was trying to show my love, okay?
Also, I just clicked off briefly to read off names from the doc, and I come back and I see like Carola flailing.
It's not hard!
I come back and just see like...
Leave me alone!
So much, to our patrons. If you are very interested in designs like this, and to join this awesome community, you may do so at patreon.com/the Yaoi Shelf. We will be at FujoCon next week.
Woo-hoo!
And that is not what we're talking about next month.
No, it is not.
It is not.
But we will be at FujoCon next weekend for 2
Yes.
panels.
Yes.
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 So,
we're doing one with the brilliant area of Queerios and the BL Fan Project, where you go over the BL State of the Union, and we will be doing one individually where we talk about some of our Fujin experiences. Details for both will be in Yield show notes and on Twitter. I don't know why Twitter is in that direction. And on Instagram, which is in Carola's direction, because I can't be asked to do Instagram.
It's okay. I have been really bad at Instagramming.
You have... My brain was shitty and was like, yeah, you have been, but that wasn't where my brain wanted to go. It was like, you've been busy. And it's like, don't be a jerk. Like, stop that.
But it is true. But I have been so busy.
You've had a lot of stuff going on. I was genuinely not trying to nag.
It's okay.
So that's where we will be. Next month, we are not covering that thing that I wanted us to cover, because if I have properly whored ourselves out, it will be a much, much more interesting topic.
Yes. This is true.
Which means I have to go back and read our Discord chat about what we're covering next month.
Yeah, this is true. I realized it after I wrote in the thing that we are no longer
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure I left that blank for a reason.
Yeah, because I remember you talked about the continuity, but then also we really want to do the really cool thing. So
yeah, we really want to do the cool thing.
It's a very cool thing, okay?
It is, but it means that we can't do the thing that we wanted to do for continuity, and we're idiots and haven't talked about it.
We've been busy.
We've been really fucking
We are
busy.
so busy.
We've been really busy.
I can't believe I forgot what a nightmare June usually is. And and I was just like, no, pile it on. Let's do 2 panels. So
okay.
we're
So I scrolled back, and one of the last things that I end up finding is the horrible curse thing from the from the Patreon episode before last Patreon episode. And fuck you, I hate it.
I can't even remember what it is right now.
And I'm not going to say anything because that's for the patrons. But fuck you, I hate you again. Okay. What are we talking about? Oh my god.
What, you wanted to be unhinged, right? I hope you're happy with yourself. We have now been live. We're not even live. We've been recording for almost 2 hours. You could easily, I'm just saying, you could easily cut out 20 minutes in the middle. No one would know. No one needs to know.
Oh, your gacked rant?
Yes.
No, you're not getting off easy at all. No, never. I will play this at your funeral.
Okay, fine.
That sounded really ominous. That wasn't my intention.
Are you gonna kill me first?
No, I was like, that sounded really
ominous. Like a threat. It's like
I'm not going to murder Carola. Okay, Okay, July is our birth month. Is there anything that we want to cover?
I'm sure we can find something. Didn't we? Like, it's been 2 hours. I don't know.
We had a
mentioned some-
plan.
We had a plan.
We had a plan.
My
What are we
brain.
We will announce what we're talking about later.
Yeah. Also, we're not going to do a live this month.
Okay, I was gonna say it, but you could, yeah.
Yeah.
We're tired, as you can tell, and we're unhinged.
But we
we're also
are-
doing 2 panels at FujoCon, so
And they
there you
will
go.
be live, so.
They will be live. So more details on that in show notes. You can find us everywhere. The name is the same everywhere. Both of us are tired, and we have to do more planning after this. So
Because we have complete control of our schedules. This is going
Yes,
really
we
well.
are. We're doing great.
Can you tell?
It's been 2 hours, and both hosts are just. We were going to record later than this.
I'm so glad we didn't.
I am too. Thank you, dear listeners, for being here.
Thank
we
you
will
so
shortly announce what we're doing for July. It is our birth month, so that is a good time for you to support the show as a present to us. Also, sometime next week is the podcast anniversary, which makes me very happy. Almost happy birthday to the show.
Happy birthday,
There's a lot of really cool stuff coming down the pipeline. I know we say that all the fucking time, but like we mean it. There's a lot of cool stuff coming down the
So
pipeline.
much cool stuff. Yes.
And we're glad to have all of you here with us on that ride.
Continue having a wonderful Pride Month.
Mm-hmm.
Take
We
care
will
of
see you at
yourselves.
FujoCon, and we will talk to you all soon. Bye.
Bye.